you ought to restrict the First Amendment. Well, that captive audience phrase is a term that's been used in law, but only in a narrow area. And it's been used, for example, in the public schools. Children are captive audiences because they are required by law to be there. Therefore, in the classroom or even at a graduation, it's been extended to that as well. You have to give greater protection to the people who are there and less free speech protection to the people who want to speak because you're a captive audience. The Supreme Court has rejected captive audience in the military, even though you're just as captive audience there as you are anyplace else. They've rejected the captive audience idea in the prison, which you're clearly a captive audience there. But what they're trying to say is you're a captive audience at a funeral. Well, if you're a captive audience at a funeral, therefore you have less First Amendment protection to speak to someone in that area, then you're a captive audience at a presidential inauguration. Because it happens only once a year, it's very momentous, you want to be there. You're a captive audience at a wedding. You're a captive audience if you're going to an abortion clinic, if it's the only clinic in the area, or if there's only a few clinics in the area. And then, therefore, we lose our First Amendment protection in all of these different venues.
You know, Matt, part of freedom and liberty is often standing up and protecting someone's right to make a fool of themselves, protecting their right to be wrong. And in this case, what you're pointing out, if I understand what you're saying correctly, is that by allowing the emotion to rise and rule the day here rather than the law, you could dilute the First Amendment and the protections by expanding it to areas that we've never had to deal with the captive audience argument before. That's
right. Say if you have a gay pride parade, and it happens once a year, for example, and you're having all these homosexual activists going down the street, they could say, well, we're captive audiences because we have no place other than here to have our parade. It's only one day a year. And it's very important to us. So therefore, shut down all of the counter-protest on the streets, sidewalks, in the other areas, on the billboards. Shut it all down because that's highly offensive to us. It's causing us emotional distress. That's the problem with this particular case, and that's why we got involved to file this brief.
You know, these are the issues that Liberty Counsel does not sit back and remain silent on. It would have been very easy in this case to sit back and remain silent on it rather than stand up and recognize the terrible impact that a bad decision here could have. Again, you know, when our listeners are listening to you explain this and they support Liberty Counsel, this is the kind of thing that you're protecting freedom of speech and freedom of religion by participating with Liberty Counsel.
Well, and that's why we're looking ahead to some of these threats that may come directly or kind of come out of the side unexpectedly to our faith, family, and freedom, to our religious freedom, the sanctity of life, and the family. That's why we're involved in this case. Give us a call at Liberty Counsel at 1-800-671-1776. You can also go to Liberty Counsel's website, lc.org. There's two things I'd like for you to make sure that you subscribe to. One is the Liberty Alert email. You can get that right there on the web. You can also get the Liberator newsletter, but the other is on the front page, scroll down, you'll see the Liberty Action or the Action email. Click on that. We have over 300,000. In fact, we have almost 1 million people, but 300,000 that we use, send out on a regular basis to get information to people so that your voice can be heard. Click on that, sign up for it, it's free of charge. Also, you can give an online secured credit card contribution directly to Liberty Counsel to support the ministry of Liberty Counsel as well. And there's much more information there on the website, lc.org.